Message from General Pepper. Priority 1.
We need your help, Star Fox. Andross has declared war. He's invaded the Lylat system and is trying to take over Corneria. Our army alone can't do the job. Hurry, Star Fox.
Corneria, fourth planet of the Lylat system. The evil Andross turned this once thriving system into a wasteland of near extinction. General Pepper of the Cornerian army was successful in exiling this maniacal scientist to the barren, deserted planet Venom. 5 years later, General Pepper noticed strange activity coming from Venom. James McCloud, Pigma Dengar, and Peppy Hare of the Star Fox team were sent to investigate. Upon their arrival, Pigma betrayed the team, and James and Peppy were captured by Andross. Peppy barely escaped Venom and returned home to tell James' son, Fox, about his father's fate. A few years have passed. Andross has again invaded the Lylat system. General Pepper has turned to a new Star Fox team, headed by Fox McCloud, to save Corneria and free the Lylat system once again.
It's about time you showed up, Fox. You're the only hope for our world.
I'll do my best. Andross won't have his way with me.
Good luck.
Open the wings. Check your G-diffuser system.
Falco here. I'm fine.
This is Peppy. All systems go.
Slippy here. I'm okay.
I see him up ahead. Let's rock and roll.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to Let's Play Star Fox 64 for the Nintendo 64. I am your host, of course, Mr. ESP and oh my god, this has to be really one of my favorite games of all time. And it's one of those games that I always come back to. You know why? Because there's a scoring system. Why would you not try to pass this game and try to go back to beat your own record? It's just very awesome. Of course, it is a flying game, and of course, it's pretty much shoot your way through enemies, dodge obstacles, and of course, you are partnered up with 3 different pilots or partners: Falco Lombardi, the Falcon, Peppy Hare, the Rabbit, and Slippy Toad, of course, a Toad. But yeah, and of course, Slippy, already needing my help in the first level. What's wrong, Slippy? But yeah, this is pretty much one of those games that I always come back to. And of course you have your power-ups, you have these gold and silver rings. Gold rings, if you collect 3, your health bar, increases. Silver rings is pretty much getting health. And of course you do have bombs, which is these red things like right above your life counter. Of course, that little bar right there is pretty much because you could boost or break or do somersaults or U-turns. Well, you can only do U-turns when, of course, you have this segment called the all range mode segment. So pretty much, so you can see I'm boosting to try to save Falco. These guys always needed my help. Do a barrel! That is pretty much one of the, famous lines in this game. There will be more famous lines, and I will point it out too. But of course, this game also requires you, to do different things in order to go to different paths. There's a hard path, there's a medium path, and there's an easy path. And I am taking the hard path right now, and I will do all the paths and show off how to, go to the different paths and everything. Of course, if you fly through these paths, you go through it. Of course, Falco will show you the way to this waterfall, and you will go through it. Of course, you won't crash, because I guess there's nothing behind it. But yeah, this has to be, of course, one of my favorite games of all time, and it's one of those games, that I always come back to. And it's because, I always want to try to beat my, my score, pretty much. A little story. My parents, when I was young, they were separated. And pretty much I always visit my biological dad like every weekend. Of course now I can't because of course I have work and school and stuff. But I do visit him once in a while. Of course he would always come pick me up, from my house to go spend the weekend with him. I always bring me back different presents, pretty much either like video games, sometimes like clothes to have me dress all nice, and sometimes he would get me toys too when I used to play with toys when I was little, like a lot. Like I always had all these toys when I was little. But pretty much, of course, when I had a hard day at school. At that time I was in elementary. And it's just, what would you do if like these bullies picked on someone who, couldn't fight back because he had a disability? And of course I stepped in, I fought the bullies, and ever since then, being the kid with the disability, me and him became good friends, and we still talk to each other since then. We become really good friends. But I've always been there for him. But anyway, and of course we went to his car. He saw I was a little sad, and I told him what happened, and he was all like, "Well, I know what will cheer you up." He got his glove. He pulled out for his glove the glove compartment. He pulled out something, and it was, of course, Star Fox 64. And I was so excited because he knew how much I love Star Fox. Of course, before this game, there was Star Fox for the Super Nintendo. Pretty much, Star Fox 64 is a reboot to the series. Here's why. Because after, the success of Star Fox 1, of course, the guys wanted to make Star Fox 2, and they were already, you know, in development. But Miyamoto, who was already, you know, developing the Nintendo 64 at the time, which was called the was gonna be called the Ultra 64, but I guess they changed his name. He wanted a game, you know, to like, you know, that would sell a lot, along with, you know, the Nintendo 64. Of course, there was Super Mario 64, which was another one of my favorite games. And that's when they decided, you know what, let's just scrap the Star Fox 2 idea and just start with a new game, which is Star Fox 64, which is pretty much, you know, like starting the whole thing over, like, but in a different way. Well, more like much of a detailed way in the beginning of the series. But yeah, so they decided to scrap the idea. But of course, that didn't stop from one guy to leak the ROM, pretty much the beta version of Star Fox 2. And of course, they did release, you know, the final version of it, I guess, because I guess some guys, you know, finished everything. They pretty much translated it to English, because of course it was developed in Japan, so, you know, that's why they pretty much, sorry, I was doing so good, but then, but yeah, of course there are ROMs for it, and you could go pretty much look it up on Google, and it'll pretty much be there for any Super Nintendo ROM you have. But yeah, and I will LP, you know, all the Star Fox series. Of course, you know, Star Fox 2, and when I get a capture card, of course, I will LP Star Fox Adventures if, you know, once I, you know, learn everything. But most certainly, of course, Star Fox Assault, also for the GameCube. Star Fox is pretty much, you know, one of my favorite video game series, and I don't know, ever since Star Fox Command, I don't know, there wasn't really, after Star Fox Command, hasn't been any Star Fox games. And of course, and I guess in E3, they showed off, Miyamoto showed off, like, I guess, this new game. But it was funny because he blurred out the TV, so we don't know what it is. And of course, it's obvious it was a new Star Fox game for the Wii U, which will have these motion controllers, kind of like how the remake Star Fox 64 3D for the 3DS had. The gyro system, pretty much when you have to move around your 3DS, like, you know, like hold it and wave it around, and of course you're moving along. But yeah, and of course I will go through all the paths, and right now I'm starting off with the hard path, because that's pretty much, the hard path is like the true path to like the end, to the true ending. So yeah, and that's why, you know, that's what brings the repetitive, that's what makes you want to replay the game. I mean, repetitiveness, I meant to replay the game, is there's this certain thing you have to do to take these certain paths of the game. And of course, you don't have to drive a spaceship, which is called the arwing. That's what they called the ships, the arwings. But you could also drive a tank called the landmaster, and only for one level called Aqua, you could ride this submarine called the Blue Marine, and that episode is for a later time. But other than that, in order to go to Aqua and through this level, you have to have at least 100 hits. More than 100 hits in order to, you know, go through the hard path, continue through the hard path. Because if you don't, then you'll be jumped to the medium path. But I want to go through the hard path, so of course, like I said before, I will take all the paths, and I will show certain ways in order to go through those paths. Ow. Ow. My foot's asleep. Ugh. See what happens when you're standing on your legs. But yeah, these little mini bosses aren't that hard. So now we take on the real boss in this level. And these guys really remind me of Gundam, of course, if you haven't watched Gundam is pretty much like an anime about these fighting robots with guns and sometimes shields. I really haven't. I watched some of Gundam. You know, I really couldn't get into it. But I don't know, it's just one of those animes that's like, I don't watch a lot of animes until I met my girlfriend, which, you know, her and her brother are pretty much these anime freaks, pretty much. But I'm getting to some animes like Blue Exorcist, and I don't know, that's pretty much it. That's probably like one of the only animes I watch, but other than that, she would try to like show me all these other animes. I don't know. I'm always used to like watching like, you know, real TV shows or something like that. I wasn't really used to all those weird animes. Of course, I did watch Dragon Ball Z, but I know it's like, you know, an overrated anime, but I still like it. Dragon Ball Z is awesome. But other than that, we defeated the Gundam ship. And now, whew. And of course, I will keep these episodes short because, I don't know, whenever I try making like a 20-minute or more video, Movie Maker takes it a long time to render it, maybe like 2 hours or so, and it's just ridiculous. So I will keep these each episode short, maybe like under 20 minutes. Most likely, each episode will probably be like 15 minutes, 16, 17, around there. But for now, this episode is only going to be like 13 minutes, so yeah. And of course, we did beat Sector Y. Of course, they call it Sector Y because of that giant galaxy-shaped thing was shaped like a Y. And there are a couple of those in this, at least 3. As you can see in the map, there's Sector Z and Sector X. But other than that, that does it for this episode. Hopefully everyone enjoyed this new Let's Play. And stay tuned for more. And of course, stay tuned for Mega Man X, which is going to come up somewhere around it. I don't know. It's just, I have been really busy with school. Of course. What I could say is that I will try to upload each of my episodes of the Let's Plays that I'm going to do, if I can. But most likely, stay tuned for them on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. But other than that, this has been Mr. ESP X saying good night, good morning, good day, whatever time you're watching this video. Thank you guys, and I'm sorry if I sound really tired because, you know, it's very hot in here. But other than that, see you guys later, and stay tuned for more Let's Play Star Fox 64. Good night, everyone.